since last time I streamed, I switched over and got um, a free version of a package called A-Star. And that package lets you do A-Star pathfinding. Relatively simple, right? So you set up a game object in your scene. You add the A-Star path to it. You go down here, hit scan, and it will set up the grid. Now, obviously, I've set some other things in here, but I'm trying to simplify this, right? So the blue areas are areas where the system thinks that it can path to. I've done some testing here, and while this particular area is showing that it could path to it due to my node size, it doesn't actually ever try to path to it from the greater path, right? So this area out here. So while it thinks it could walk within this area, it doesn't think it can go from here to here, from what I've seen. I've also taken and set up on the character a couple scripts that come included with it. This AI path script, which is really designed for it to use that grid system to find a destination, I guess it's called in this. And that destination, or that script includes another one called Seeker. It's just part of the components it needs. And then there's another script that I went ahead and added for testing purposes, which is a AI destination setter, which really just sets a couple variables and a callback function on it that lets the receiver, so this script here, know that the path is ready to be used basically by the AI. So let's go ahead and jump into this exact scene. It's going to give us an error showing that there's no camera to display on. That's fine, because I'm just going to cut over here to the scene view instead. You'll see that the character was moving over here. I don't have the animations tied to this yet. That's something we'll do shortly. But if I move my destination point around, you'll see that it creates this path, green line path that it's trying to achieve and go towards. I did have to tweak the settings on the barbarian character himself, like its radius of this blue line. Yeah. You're making me look bad, by the way. You've been streaming for like 2 weeks or something, a week or something. You've got 50 followers already. I've got like, what, 150 followers or something? And like, I don't stream on a regular basis, but when I stream, I do stream on a regular basis. Like, I'll stream for several months, like every day. And I've got like 150, so. Anyway, it probably has a lot to do with there's two of you, and what I do is basically what Andrew does, right? And it can be boring at times, like just talking about code and stuff. You've got that pretty art to look at. Oh, anyway, so I set his follow distance and things like that. You're basically cheating, yes. You're combining your strengths. What was it? This next waypoint picking distance. So when that circle was big, he would basically, when he was going around a corner, just be like trying to go here instead of going around all the steps of the corner. And that was throwing off the system quite a bit. He would get stuck, right? Instead of going around it, actually. Yes, I am the crybaby. Oh, Andrew's the baby. Ouch. So now that it's bigger, it should just get stuck every once in a while. Yeah, see, he's trying to path up to here, but he can't go directly there. He needs to go this way first. So by setting it to a smaller number, it allows it to do that. What else did I have to do to get this to work? So on the... Andrew might be interested in this as he's getting into developing the AI stuff, by the way. What I'm doing is something that all games need, right? Some level of AI, and this is that AI script stuff I was talking about in Discord. On this barbarian, initially he tried to clip through all of these colliders, so I had to add a collider to him because I forgot. But then setting his radius fairly small was important, right? Because he wouldn't walk through this path because the AI says only the blue area is walkable. Okay, cool. Well, and there's always the video on demand on my channel too if he wants to watch the first part of it. And I usually upload them to YouTube too. The other thing was the collider. Initially I had it as a box that would, a box against a box, you know, they kind of want to catch on each other. So by making it a circle collider, it could go around the edges a little easier of the box colliders that are on my tiles. And then also setting the physics material to a material that has no friction, allows it to slip past it when it gets stuck on an edge. So I think those are a winning combination of settings for at least my game. Using the tile system and this A-star pathfinding project. So, I mean, look at this complexity, right? If I grab them and say go over to here, he should just do it. He's having no problem navigating this. So let's try and throw him for a loop here and bring him back over this direction. We're going to change his path on him a couple times, right? Wait till he gets over here and then try and get him to go back, I don't know, like to here or something. Now, what he won't do is path out to here, right? Because I didn't set my navigation grid up to go out to that area because I didn't foresee that being needed. Right, and it's actually slightly delayed, but it's so fast that, you know, a person isn't going to notice it. Like, I can drag this up here and it won't catch it immediately. Not always. There's a little bit of delay, but it repaths automatically on its own by default. And of course, there's tons of options in this, and this is just one of the AI seekers that are set out there. What I envision doing is, instead of having just this blank game object, I'll set that to my player. So I'll add another script that basically does the same thing as this seeker script, which is like 6 lines of code. So I'll just write my own and have it find the player when it first loads and go from there. There are some one oddity that I found initially that I didn't mention, and that was my barbarian was on a default layer, and the A-star pathfinding system looks at default for any obstacles. So it would have found my enemy as a obstacle that it couldn't go through, and that grid is calculated once. So that's the thing. How am I gonna handle that? I'll have to figure out how to handle recalculation of it. I'm assuming we can, because I can hit scan now even at runtime and it will do it. So if I added a new obstacle, but anyway, there was a hole in the grid right there, so he couldn't walk back to his original path. Fix it by just moving him to a different layer. Let's see, can he go up in that area? He should be able to go up here, because that should be pathable. Nope. And like, there's speed on it, right? So I think he's kind of slow right now, especially with me testing. Set him up to 4. Oops. We can pick him up and move him. He just goes back. Okay, let's try and go back here. See, there's a gap. What's he gonna do? That's a hole in my nav mesh. Oh, it actually is doing what I want, which is he can't go down there. So my collider must be weirdly shaped there for those. So I might need to change those to like a, not a sprite collider, but a grid collider. That tile. So where he can't go, he won't try. He can't go there, right? But where he can, he'll go. That's cool. What if I try and get him to go on the roof? He shouldn't physically be able to get there because of the colliders. Nice. If I set this outside the grid, he tries to get as close as possible to it. Go over here, please. Yeah, I sped him up. I was tired of waiting on him. I'll see, he tries to path over there to do it. Okay. Because he thinks he can get through here onto there and then out. Let's see. This is gonna work for what I want. I didn't even probably need this level of complexity for an AI, but it works for me. And he's also not, like, when I'm done with him, he's not gonna have infinite range on his vision, right? He's not gonna path you to you that far away. Which should be pretty easy to do, right? So I'll add in my own script instead of this destination setter that gets a reference to the player. Checks to see if the player is within basically a circle collider around him, and that will be his vision range. And if you're within that vision range, he goes for you. And then if you're outside that vision range, he might pick a random point on that vision range. You know, just a random XY coordinate, and that'll be his destination. He'll path to that. And repeat. Maybe only repeat after he's hit that destination, right? That way he's not constantly changing all over the place which way he wants to go, because that would look crazy. I think I know what you're talking about. Like, there's some actual games, like little robots where they fight and you have to program the AI. I thought those were always kind of fun. What's this? Oh yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I'm super loud. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There it is. It's the bot going around. It probably uses the same thing, same concept. Assuming they have a picture up front of what the maze looks like. So I need to add a script that does the same thing as this script, and then some. So let's look at this script first. So here it is. On enable and on disable, it updates basically a callback function. That callback function, which is update, because this is not a mono develop. This is a mono develop. I think what they do is they let their mice test the course, then after the course is tested, better on it. Okay. Still could do A-star pathfinding, so it might map it out initially, like make right turns all the time until it gets a complete map in its memory. Yeah, so this is just an on enable on. Yeah, the star. I think you might always have it once you subscribed. That's the default subscriber badge. I just haven't gone in and changed it. I'm not sure what to put it at yet. Like, what was it? There was a person I subscribed to before, and like their initial subscriber badge was like a 4-point star. And then, like, once you hit the 3 month, it was like, I don't know, a 5 or 6 point star. And they just kept building up until you had this really cool looking thing after like a year or something. That's what I was saying. It'd be cool to have something that's progressive. That way, anyone that looks at it can say, oh, I'm this kind of thing. If no one else is watching, you've got the same capabilities too. Like maybe one's green, and then one's ripe, and then one's gold, right? As you go forward. Or maybe like one's half got a bite out of it. Let's see. Right, exactly. Okay, so I put that on another window so I can use it for a reference as I write the next piece of code that I'm going to actually use. Come on. Oh, looks like I need to turn Steam off. So, because that reminded me, the Steam pop-up, people in Europe definitely do watch at a different time on Twitch. So if you do want people from Europe knowing about your game and stuff, it's good to stream in the mornings every once in a while. I've made some European friends by just streaming in the morning. So let's see. So let's add another component. What are we gonna call this thing? It is AI, but I don't want to confuse it with their AI stuff. Enemy AI interaction. So it's kind of like a layer between the enemies and the AI. Okay, so where did it go? Open up, Shazami. Okay, so we've got that. We need a reference to the... Ooh, they've got it as an interface. Fancy. AI, right? And on start. So they do it on enable and disable, which is probably more efficient from the standpoint of if I were to disable this guy and not leave him around or whatever. That way it redoes these things. AI.get component. It's a star AI. And I need to use a specific namespace using pathfinding. Boom. If AI does not equal null, we'll say aa.onSearchPath. Oh. Did not autocomplete it though. AI star, not start. On search path plus equals update. Private void on disable. We will subtract out the update from the callback functions. Why don't you like update? Does not exist in the current. Okay. Still not making a sense. Let's go forward with it. We're gonna need a target class, which is a transform. Transform target. Oh, and by the way, below the stone dove, like, don't feel like you have to stay here. I know you haven't slept. Go get sleep, man. You're not gonna offend me if you leave. You're welcome to stay here. I'm not trying to shoo you off, but you don't have to stay. And AI not equal. Yeah, exactly. Gosh. Destination. Stop doing that. AI.test. Nation. What is going on with this class? What's going on? That is what is going on. There. Equals target dot position. I think that's all. Oh. I can say AI there. Cool. Hang on a bit. I'll tell you when I go. Or I'll just fall asleep with the stream on and take no offense to the I'm just tired. Yeah, yeah. That's what I was saying. I gotta recognize that you've been up streaming since I went to bed. And I think when I first woke up, you started posting that you had the... Maybe it was a little later. Your emotes for subscribers. So I know you were still up. That or you've cloned yourself. Okay, so this is to get everything set up. We need to then override what our target is periodically based on whether or not the player is within range. So we'll need a range. Transform. Just a waiting game now until the super version of this amount. Oh, you're waiting for it to get approved still? Yeah, they send you a mail. I'm pretty sure they sent me a mail. I got approved. Could you? Well, like, you should be able to use, if you've got them approved, you should be able to use them in my chat even. Like, they follow you around. Because technically you're a subscriber to yourself. Transform, so we need game object probably. Game object player. And we'll make this a serializable. My autocorrect is not helping me today. Serializable field. Right. Yeah, not sure if you have to refresh or not. Or to come up into your chat, but that's how it would work. So what did you give them for names? Did you put it in the picture? Oh no. So we need to take play off, so we can get a reference to that on start, I believe. Void start player equals game object. Find game object with tag player. They should already be there because he's always loaded. Boom. And then we can say a range field. So private float range. Serializable field. detect range. How far away should I look for a player or a target? Called when an agent recalculates its path. This is called both automatic path recalculation and manual ones. Take a look at destination setter course code for an example of how it can be used. Okay, which is where I got this from. It's a system action, so that means the update's gonna get called. I don't get why they're doing this exactly, because this update method should get called every frame anyway. They're just calling it extra when the search path is set. In fact, let's comment this piece out altogether. Of course. Edit, comment. Where's the comment? Shortcut. Yeah. I'll just do it this way. Surround with. Nope. I don't use this editor enough. Insert comment. Nope. Fine. I'll do it this way. So if everything works right, this should just automatically set the destination on the next frame. There'll be one extra frame of delay before you pass to things. And I can remove this one. This target needs to be serializable. Move this one. Whoa. Okay. That's nifty. Why does it show it is removed like that? Oh, okay. That's because it's prefab. Are you going to your target? No, because I didn't set it. Derp. And you don't go to it. Oh, right. Because AI is null. Here we go. So as long as I don't enable or disable the AI, it should be fine. Even then, it should still be fine. Because the start code is going to run once, grab a cached copy of that. Cool. So I'm just going to move this to the very bottom, just as a reference if I ever need it again, but I don't think I will. And we're good with just these lines of code now. Let's look at the AI class itself. I believe they got a callback for reach destination. Okay, so we can see if it's at the destination. Reach end of path. Wait, what's the difference between those? True if the agent has reached the end of its current path. Note that the setting the destination does not immediately update the path, nor is there any guarantee that the AI will actually be able to reach the destination, right? The AI will try to get as close as possible. Often you want to use reach destination instead of, which is easier to work with. Okay. It is very hard to provide a method for detecting if the AI has reached the destination. That works across different games because the destination may not even lie in the nav mesh, and how that is handled and differs from game to game. See the code stuff. Okay. So reach destination returns true if AI has reached the destination. This is the best effort calculation to see if the destination has been reached. For AI path and rich AI scripts, this is when the character is within end reach distance, world units from the destination. The AR lerp script is when the character is at the destination, plus minus a very small margin. Okay. This value will be updated immediately when the destination is changed. That's annoying. I need a callback then. Can search, can move. System action on search. We're looking for system actions. There isn't any. Okay, what's the parent class then? It's just an interface. This. Can we do that? F12? Nope. Here we go. System.action. No actions. True if the end of the path is reached. When unifying interfaces from different movement scripts, this property has been removed. So you reached end of destiny. Yeah. Okay. It's basically just returning that value from that other one, so you might as well use the other one. Okay, so let's just do some debugging then, right? We'll add a debug statement literally that just says the value of this. Debug.log, and then we can just monitor how it changes over time, just for educational purposes. Educational purposes. AI dot, please. AI. Education purchases? Okay. I was saying porpoises. There are cases when AI is not an iris instead of an object. Come on, stop running. Please, no more. No mas. Okay, so that first one was no reference, yeah. Why is it not logging anything? Oh, I've got messages turned off, that's why. There we go. Okay, so we're at the destination and it is doing that. I move it away, it goes false immediately. And it comes true when he gets to it. What happens if I put it somewhere he can't get? Like there. It still goes true because he's close enough to it. What happens if I put it there? It goes false. It's true there. Let's put it somewhere like further away he can't get to. So he has to struggle to get to it basically. He'll never be able to reach it. There. So he'll come up to here, but then just stop, right? In theory, that's what he should do. But what does he do? Does that set the reach destination to true? Because it's going to be outside of those circles, which are the different checking distances or whatever you want to call them. It goes true. So once it hits true, I can find a new destination, be it the player or something else. So let's set up some other fields here. We're going to say private bool is tracking player. And that's just for my own purposes to say I am trying to get the player, he's in range, blah, blah, blah. We'll set that to false right now. Okay. So what am I going to start this out with? Update the destination. Destination, please. To go to the thing we are after. Oops. There we go. And this, so we got this tracking player. So we've got a reference to the player. So we'll say player dot position transform dot position, and we'll say if minus our position, which is transform dot position, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we'll define the distance if it's greater than detect range. I think we might need to square that if I remember right, but we'll not for now, because we're doing positions, and I think that'll give us the distance between them. All right. Right. It's gonna. So we need to do magnitude. That square magnitude, because the magnitude would be squaring it, square rooting it. So if we do detect range twice, that's more efficient. That's where my brain was going with the squaring stuff. So he's with the distance between, so I need to say less than. Right, so he's within our detection range. So our target dot position, it needs to be the players dot transform dot position. Okay, and then that target will get set to the destination later at the bottom of the code. And then we'll set is tracking player to true. Okay. But we'll only do that if we've reached our destination, right? So if he's picked a random spot in the world, he's going to go towards it, even if the player comes in range, right? And then when he reaches his destination, he's going to turn around and go after the player. Maybe that'll be good, maybe that'll be bad. I'll have to see how that works out gameplay-wise, but for now, we're only going to do it if we're at the destination. So if at... so we'll just do it this way. We'll say at reached end of path, and we're at that, right? So I can easily take that reached end of path part out. No, can't do it that way because I need to set this variable the other direction if we're not tracking the player. Crap. If reach destination path. So we'll update this else to false if he's not in range and we're at the end of the path. And then I'll say if we're tracking the player, we can do things, right? And those things that we can do is set another destination if we're not tracking the player, because that's all we need to do. So let's do that. And we'll take float x, float y, which will equal our transform.position.y plus some random number. Right, so we'll do math.random. No, it's not random. Random.random range, which will be from so minimum to maximum. we'll take the detect range, the negative of that, and to the positive of that, detect range plus positive, right? And that will be our, oh, it should say X here. It's just a range now. Hello, fatality. Right, but I'm trying to use it as a distance, if that makes sense, too. Oh, I see what you're saying. That was deprecated. Thank you. Had I been looking at what the IDE was trying to tell me, I would have noticed. Another parenthesis there, there. And that gives us an XY coordinate, and that will be our target position. So target position dot X equals X. I guess I could optimize it by not using that integer or the float there. We can't set it directly, right? We need to create a new one. So vector 3 B, and we'll say equals new vector 3 x comma y comma 0. If I can spell. And then that will be our transform position. Our target position. Target. Position equals V. There. It's more efficient, right? I'm going to leave those on separate lines as far as X and Y in case we need to debug this. So if we're at our end of our path, we're going to check to see if the player's in range. If it is, we're going to set our transform.position target position of our player's transform position, and we'll set tracking player to true. If it's not in range, we'll set it to false, and if it's false, meaning we're not tracking the player, we'll go after and do this stuff, which is setting a random position for us to go to, and then go to it, of course, by going down here and setting this. Okay, so in theory this should work. What? Introduce variable code refactoring provider encountered an error and has been disabled. Okay. Nice of you to crash, Visual Studio. So let's now set our main menu as our start one because we need a player. We're going to start our game. We're going to go to the desert, and that's amazingly funny. I was working on animations for the door the other day and did not realize it was set as default to play it. And that took longer than expected to load, but it loaded. Okay, and he's not moving, but I think I neglected to set the range, right? I think I didn't put that range in at all. Yeah, detect range, so let's put it to like 5. And he's going to a random spot. At least it appears to be. How's he going for us? Yep, he's going for us. Awesome. And now that he's at us, he should just stay in my area. Yeah, he's pushing me around. Okay, so let's walk away from him. Does he chase us? I mean, he should, until we get out of his follow range. Nice. Let's do split screen here so we can see where this guy's going for constantly. So he was tracking for us. It's not updating the player's location because I went out of the range, I guess. So now I'm in his range. Because he's not at destination. Okay, so we need to edit that. So when we're doing this, when we're saying he's not at the end of the destination, we need to have another condition down here, right? So else, right? So down here we're tracking something, right? So is the player tracking? I knew there was a reason I set this up. If is tracking player, we need to continually update the position of the player. That way he'll continue to track him. But only if the player is within range, right? We still needed to do that detection. So we want him to stop following after a certain point, right? We don't want him to follow you forever. And maybe I'll have two ranges, like initial detection range where he locks on, and then like once he sees you, he's going to follow you for a longer distance, which we could set as well. Something's not liking something. What? Null reference object set to an instance of an object. Line 129. The AI is not set to a reference of an object? Okay. Name of this class. Name AI interaction. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, my AI is dying, so let's just restart it. It must have not ran the start code again or something when it recompiled. Okay, so watch over here. He's not randomly picking a new location right now. Let's set him up right, I guess. Desert, Barbarian. Let's set his range to 10 by default. He has no target by default, so... No, he does. This. No player. Okay. Save. It would be nice if I could somehow visually display the range on my scene view. I know there's on Gizmo Draw or whatever, or something like that, on GUI Draw. But I'm not sure that the range would be the exact number like that. I'll have to probably look at the code for how they're doing it in the AI script. Okay, he started following me. Okay, he's got me now. And he's updating now that I'm within his range still. He's not waiting until he gets to me to update his path. Get off the rock. Okay, now is he going to... Yeah, he's going to stop there, and then he picks a random spot. To me, that seems to work. That's like the kind of behavior I was going for. Like, he's just going to randomly pick a spot to go to and go to it. So you never know where he's going to be, right? Maybe there needs to be also the ability for him to just hang out and chill in an area for a bit. There's a way that you can get the scene view to follow a thing. I think it's like Shift F. There we go. I should follow my barbarian around then. We can zoom out then. See what he's always doing. It's like you could lure him away, run away from him, and he'll just randomly pick a spot in that area. So you never know when he's going to come towards you because he might randomly path his way towards you. I'm mostly focused on this, but how does he... I know his animations need to be updated for his direction of travel and all that stuff. That's doable. I already did that before. Is he behaving like something you'd see in a game? To me, he's unpredictable, which I kind of like. What he needs to do is when he gets to his destination, wait. Just observing him, he looks stupid that he's constantly looking for a new spot. And his wandering section of his code, which is basically what I'm building into it, right, needs to have a random amount of time that it's picking that he should stay in that area. And he should just chill there for a while, you know? Not every time, right? Making him unpredictable as possible. Okay, so let's do that. So we're at the end of the path. And it's automatically picking a new path, right? And here is where it's picking the random location. So this is probably the piece of code where we should say, wait a bit, right? Because if the player's there at his destination or within range of his destination, we should have him go for it, right? He's like, oh, you're there. He's gonna change what he's doing right away. But if he's just wandering around looking for a place to be, then let's keep him there. So let's set another serialized field of private. Serialized private field. Let float. Actually, this doesn't need to be serialized. We'll leave it so we can see it, I guess. Chill time. Chill time. And then we'll set max chill time. That'll be one we enter on the inspector, and then there'll be another one that's the actual variable that's used for how much is remaining. Hey, Nuggets. Nuggets? How do you say it? Chill time. Max chill time. Just work around my AI. Gotta get this game going. Thank you. So max chill time. So in here's where we'll set the chill time, I guess. So we'll say if remaining chill time is less than 0, then we'll do this, find a new spot, right? And we'll set our remaining chill time then to some number, which will be a random dot range between 0 and max chill time. And every frame in here, basically, right? So we'll say, but only when we're like at the destination and not tracking a player will we reduce the chill time. So remaining chill time, not minus, right? That would be the one way of doing it, but I want to do it based on how long that frame took. So time dot delta time. If I wrote that right, actually, there we go. So eventually it's going to hit 0, then he'll find a new location, and then we'll set a new chill time when he's found a new location to go to, based on 0 to max chill time. And we'll set max chill time to a default amount. I don't know, like 5, because I think time.delta time is in thousandths of a second. Time it took in seconds to complete the last frame. Right, so that'll be 5 seconds max chill time, if I'm understanding that correctly. Let's just play again. Just ignore the glitchy door. And let's get our view set up right so we're following the barbarian again. Around where he's going. Okay, he's at one of his destinations. He's on chill time. And then he found a new destination, which just happened to be me. Or next to me. Let's bail. Yeah, he's just picked a random spot over there. What are the odds? It's chilling. Going to another random location. Chilling. I like how it's like a different amount of time every time. Makes him very unpredictable as something you have to try and fight. And now he's got me. And I don't know that he's got me unless I look over here, right? So it's like he's so random or whatever. Like most games... That's another thing I can do, right? So I could set his speed a little faster when he finds the player. Like he's just wandering around slowly normally. But when he gets you, he bails for you. Ah, stop pushing me around. Ah, I'm stuck in a tree. He's actually a little challenge to get away from in this rock area. I'm watching too many different things at the same time though too. He's still following me. Still following me. Maybe his detect range is a little too high. He's chilling there. Picks a random spot. That's probably close enough to me, so when he gets there, he's gonna go right for me. Yep. Nice. So we could change the speed thing. I'm not sold on it yet that I want to do that. If I do, then basically we add two more variables to this, right? That say wander speed and alert speed or something like that, right? So that he's going for the player, not play time. I'm going to go ahead and serialize this field because I want to see what kind of values we're getting, just to make sure it's nice and randomized. Can't remember. Does random range return an integer? If it does, then I might want to make it, you know, return a float value by dividing it by 100 or something. Multiply the two range values, the upper range value by 100. Divide the result by 100. Boom. Shift F. Both in integer and float. Okay. So time remaining is 0, and it's not going to chill because I am right here. Chill, dude, chill. So it was a float. Yeah. 4.15, blah, blah, blah. Just wait till he's got a long chill time. Let's get near him now. If I can. He goes right for me. That's what I want. Like he didn't wait on his chill. Cool. Other than the speed thing, I think we're good with the AI for now. Like obviously he still needs to attack and things like that, right? But that's more being at your destination of the player and performing an animation and doing a raycast. See if we hit the player, blah, blah, blah. So this is this type of AI too. So there's going to be another one that's going to have probably a similar setup, but he's also going to have another variable in there that says, I only want to get this close to the player, right? Because I'm a ranged unit, right? I don't want to get too close to him. I want to get close, but not too close, so that I can shoot my bow or whatever. So let's see. I think I should... What am I doing the asset store for? I want to go like this again. There. I think I should set up the animation portions of this now. So let me get my base AI class from wherever I put that originally. I'm gonna pop this on another window because that was my original code before I started doing pathfinding. And let's see, what all do I need in here? Got a attacking velocities, so I need some velocity numbers. So float horizontal velocity, and then we know the vertical velocity. And we probably have an animator somewhere set up on this. Do I have a direction? I just create this enumeration right inside the class. Where'd you come from then? Oh, it wasn't class. Can I do player controller? Controller dot direction? There we go. Oh, we don't define it once, so twice. Okay. We've got a rigid body 2D. Let me look at the rigid body. Let's compile. Come on. Oh, we're just gonna have to try this. So what I'm thinking is, I want to grab the rigid body's velocity and put it into these two variables, and pass those two variables to my animator. Okay, man, no worries. Like I said, I'm not gonna be offended. You'll probably wake up in time to, like, for me going to bed or something tonight. Probably sleep for like 12 hours, 14 hours or something after staying up all night. By the way, anyone else that's here, below the Stone Dev does some good streams too. They're working on a pretty cool game. So obviously we need to say this, right? So we get a rigid body reference. I've got another one that's a character setup, and I don't remember what I did for that, what that's about. Here's my character setup class. No, this isn't my class. This is the class that came with the assets I got. No, we don't need that part. We were randomly setting a velocity before. Don't need that, but we were getting it from AI horizontal velocity before. Here, show my script I'm talking about, I guess. So we had a destination before basically, and we were getting the velocity 1 or -1 based on that. But really what we need to do is say down here, I guess, RB dot, really? Did I not call it RB? I did, but it's erroring. Oh. Where's my other window? There it is. Oh, I set that. RB dot velocity. Is that a vector 3? What is that? Velocity. Vector 2. It still works. X. RB dot velocity dot y. We're going to need those, and we're going to pass those into our animator controller, which is where I use this from, I think. I use CS to find the animator controller and deactivating and activating states of the animator controller. So we need this code, and through this code, we already got directions from another place. Game object activation, so we get the right one. It was not right, was it? Let's be down here. Get active animator. So my game object is set up in such a way that there's multiple child game objects, and those child game objects, how would I describe this? Have individual animators and animations that are different based on the 4 directions of travel. This is my old code. Back to arrive at destination. Nope. 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 We set the velocity based on that stuff. If current direction does not equal previous direction, we need to put that into our animation or update code. And we need to set the velocity afterwards. So we're not actually going to set the velocity, we're going to set the animator's velocity. And we'll set this to the Y. And the horizontal shall be set to the other. We're doing absolute, but that's setting our speed. Why did we do absolute? Because, yeah, okay. There's probably a better way of doing this in a game object, but they were set up this way. I probably could have animated or put the animation controller right at the barbarian character instead of on the 4 different cardinal directions he's got. So he's got a down, up, left, and right. Though that animator controller could have controlled whether or not down object was active or inactive instead of doing it via code. And then it had one big animator controller that does the animations. You set a X or an X speed and a Y speed, and he determines which one to activate or deactivate, basically based on that. Oh well. We need to set up previous direction, which is going to be... Really? Where did I define that in my other code? In update. Are we even trying to determine the direction in this? I don't think we are. Right? Because we're checking the velocities. So that's what I need to do. I need to check the velocities and set the direction based on that. Easy enough. The same player controller, that direction again. So we need... We can put this down at the bottom too, so we don't have to jump back and forth. We'll say update animations and directions. And we'll say if rb.velocity.y, x first, right? Oh, because it's a speed, we need to base it on the direction. So if our x does not equal, if it equals 0, and our vertical velocity, which is rb dot b dot velocity dot y. I really hope that this what's the word I'm looking for? I hope that the AI script is taking over the rigid body and setting velocity of the rigid body either directly or indirectly in a way that gets it set and it's not always 0, because that would stink, because this isn't gonna work if it's always 0. I'll have to find another way to know which way we're going. So this is basically seeing which direction we're traveling more in. So we'll say else is, which is our horizontal velocity here, and our vertical velocity is here. Right, so we're moving horizontal the most, so we want to check the horizontal velocity and activate an animation and set a speed. You know what, let's make life easy. We're gonna do this. And we're gonna take the horizontal and vertical variables and just set them manually based on the rigid body. And we're basically doing this statement here, up there, and in another spot if you're traveling in that direction, because the way that a 4-directional player can work when you can push both left and up is like he can go up or this way. He can't go this way, right? He can't go at an angle. So what I'm doing is I'm looking to see, are you going more up or more left? And if you're going more up, you point up and travel at an angle. If you're going more left, then you'll look left and travel up too. That's basically what it's doing. And then we just need to say player controller in all these spots that it's saying, you know, direction's not set up. Where's it going? Oh, so this is what you look like. Hey, Doctor. Hey, Z, Doctor. I'm going to call you Dr. Z. I think I've got another guy that went by Dr. Z, so I wanted to call you that. Sorry. In previous direction. I thought I had to find that. So Z-Doctor, if you're just joining us just now, oops, I'm making some typing mistakes, which is not uncommon for me, but also I've set up A-Star Pathfinding. There's a Unity project, dang it, that's got a free version of it that uses A-Star. It makes it super simple. Part of the reason I'm using it is it separates it off, the pathfinding off on a separate thread, instead of having to write threading code myself. Rely on somebody that knows it a little bit better than me to do that for me. And we're using that to drive basically some velocities on a rigid body, and that rigid body velocity then sets our direction of our 4-directional player. Once I get rid of all these compile layers, I'll be able to show this off a little better and maybe it'll make sense. Where did I define previous direction? I didn't anymore, right? Because we defined it in update on our old code. So I'm taking some old code that I already had set up that basically I comment. There we go. Basically, the old code was a generic AI, right? He would path between 2 different transforms in a patrol type pattern. Yeah, exactly. It's annoying, but oh well. And I'm sure this is not going to be the last time I'm going to have to refactor my code, right? Like, I'm going to be continually improving it for a while yet. Why is CS airing off now? I thought I grabbed a character script. Oh, okay, that's one of those things I meant to do and didn't do, apparently. And we're going to grab this. Right, we'll define it in start. And is that all mayors? Admin fixed values inspector because those got wiped. Oh, that stinks. Yeah, there was a... I seen a cool tag that you could add, so similar to the serialized field. Somebody used it, and it basically said, "This is my old name of my field," right? So the Unity inspector would recognize, say, detect range as the new name, but also, you know, current range, whatever it was before, as the old name, so that the variable would carry over. Previously known. Yes. That is it. So what was it? Previously known? Let's not even find it. Maybe I'm doing it wrong though. That does sound like it though. Okay, formally. Not finding it. Unless my serialized field thing is messing with it. Let's try just a different one. Known. No. Form. Got to use using Unity serialization. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm not gonna add that because I don't need it on here, but that's good to know that you've got to add another using Unity engine dot serialization. Yeah, there you go. That's helpful for those type of things. I just seen it for the first time just like 2 or 3 days ago. It's like serialized field, required components, unique component. Those are all things that like they're not really well documented or publicized, I don't think. But they're very handy to have. Like there should be starting Unity 101 and those should be part of it is what I'm saying, right? So let's go into this. Ignore the glitchy thing. That was me testing. Find out how to make properties virtual and override them. Okay, he is not changing direction apparently. So something is broke. So we're working on this guy here. So does that mean the velocity doesn't get set by the AI? Yeah. I am stiff-bodied and moving. Or is it because I'm not playing an animation? No, you should still set the direction at least. I'm suspecting that this is getting set to nothing. So let's set a breakpoint here. We're gonna run this. Unity. I gotta restart, don't I? NPC animation, haven't. Hey, I had him working last week. Or just the other day. Just because I'm redoing my AI altogether. It works, dang it. It is 0. Now that could be because it's the first frame. Let's go into it for a while. It's still 0. I've been working on it since a little before the beginning of the year. The story is still developing, but the game is going to be similar to like Legend of Zelda Link to the Past type gameplay, right? So go into dungeon, get item, unlocks another area kind of thing. I haven't publicized the story yet. Let's put it that way. Want to get some basics built into it first. Let's do it this way. Instead of writing an inspector or a debug statement all over the place, let's just use serialized field and we'll look at them in the inspector. Like all of that menu will change. Obviously these glitchy things here that I've got going on were just from testing. So like I got a button that makes the door go away. I've got a lever that opens a chest. If you open the chest, then it can do that. And so the way I've done those game objects, let's go on a little journey here. So overworld, I'm setting up my game objects in a way, these ones that need to be interactable. So where's the button? Pushable block. Button. It's called button. I've got them up using actions. So what I do is if I want this action, this button to control this door, I literally just drag in the door, which I renamed to FF by mistake one time. I just saved it. Drag that down to here and say on the door, go to its door controller and say open. Right? And it's that simple. It's nice from the standpoint of I want to have a button all over the place, right? And each button in the world is going to do a slightly different thing. So it makes it, instead of writing code for each individual use case, you make it generic. And then in the Unity editor, you set the actual actions that it does. So in the tools I'm developing, NPCs and players are exactly the same. They interact with the world in the same way. The only difference is in an enum and a dev-defined scriptable movement. Okay. That being said, do your players and NPCs interact this and work the same? So the asset that they're built off of is the same type of asset. I thought about taking the approach that you're talking about where I basically abstracted another layer and make it so that I'm inputting a velocity horizontal and a velocity vertical. Hey, Pervin. Yeah, I've been streaming for a while, man. Just not in your time zone. So input like a velocity X and Y, and that drives all the animations and everything. Right now, I've still got them split out where the player controller actually accepts the keyboard input and then sets the velocity and does the same things. And the NPC will do the equivalent, right? It's not accepting keyboard input, it's accepting input from the AI controller, basically. But that's the idea. I might switch to something like what you're saying where they're just generic and you just drive the input off of two different scripts, and then all those scripts care about are not all the animation stuff, but where am I getting my input from and where am I sending that to? which would be the abstract script. Okay, so let's jump back into this. But anyway, if you've never used these before, those are nice to do. I've done some other things in it, but you are correct, ProRed. These assets in this scene that is on my screen right now, I did not do. I don't think I did any of them on this screen. When I go up into the next area, I did do them. Is there let me rephrase it. Are there interactable objects, and do they, NPCs, players, interact in the same way? So, I guess it depends on what you mean by interactable. Like, NPCs in my game will not open doors per se unless they accidentally step on a button that I allow them to. If that makes sense. Like, I'm gonna have basically I've got a layer or a tag, which it is. I think it's a layer. Excuse me, that I can define what can interact with that button on the ground. Yeah. So NPCs will not open chests. They might accidentally walk across the button, but they're never going to have a goal oriented towards that button. If that makes sense. So we've got our little NPC guy here who's pushing me all around, making it so I can't walk into the area. And our velocities are 0. That's disappointing. How am I going to get the speed off this guy then? I mean, I can calculate it, right? But so how is he moving him if he's not setting the velocity of the rigid body? Or the rigid body's not getting updated to get its velocity? So I need to look at this AI scripts documentation, which they do have. What? It opened up earlier. No, it's just going to the mono behavior. There we go. So this is their documentation page for this project. That's disappointing. Well, let's just do this. So we'll go edit script. Velocity. What are we talking about here? Blow Mr. Symbol. Velocity 2D. Is that a variable we can reach? Would you define that? It's a vector 2, it's protected. Does not include local velocity or avoidance in physics. In this argument, our agent is grounded. This may not accurately reflect the velocity of the agent. I need to know your velocity, sir. You're supposed to move with the rigid body. So it's going to be rigid 2D. Oops. Stupid semicolon. Okay, so yeah, we're getting the stuff. Caching it, so enriched bodies not null can move. We're calling update movement. If gravity is used, depending on a lot of things. Moves an agent to the position. Move rotation. It's an abstract. That's the AI base we're in. The reason I ask is to demonstrate what I meant. With my system, the NPC and players will have an interactable object variable or interactable that has an interact method. Both the player and NPCs would just need to call that method to interact with the object, pull levers, etc. It is possible for the interactable to filter who interacts with them. No, you're good, man. So I've taken a different approach and put the onus on the interactable object to know that something is trying to interact with it, right? So I've got, in the case of something that you need to push a button on your keyboard to allow the interaction to take place, basically I've set up a trigger on that interactable object. That trigger then tracks that object that collided with it to know if it's still within the collider, right? And there is basically looking for the interaction button at that point. And when it's called, it does what's needed based on that collider that was tracking before, or that object that was doing the collision before. If that makes any sense. Right now my code is in prototype phase and not super optimized as in like being the best coding methods, right? I'm trying to add functionality rapidly. I'm basically prototyping. That's where I'm getting into the situation where now I need to go back and redo things, right? Because the AI I did like day one, my basic I want to travel between 2 points, because I was trying to set everything up to make sure I can use these assets that I've got in a way that's good. And Pro Red, if you're still there, I don't know if I ever made it into this area, but this desert background, these rocks here, the desert is 100% mine. This is like 50% mine, right? Because I'm using the desert there and I've edited it and things like that. So I am making assets for this. The key that's in the corner, that's mine. There's some other little things. The vast majority is this person that actually knows how to do art instead of me. So this is this, right? Wait. Okay, so this is where it actually is defined. Called during either update or fixed update, depending on frigid buddies are used for movement or not. Summary. Okay. If negative. Where are you using the rigid body at? So basically you have it subscribed to an interactive event. I'm not using events for it like that, right? So if you really want to know, this is how I've got it set up. So my overworld, this button has a floor button script on it, and edit the script. You got it now, okay. So trigger enter if it's a player tag or a pushable, because I want there's a block that I've got that's pushable. This block here, you can push it over onto things. So if it's tagged as pushable or player, we're going to call press, and in press we can do set press, which is just basically setting the sprite. So setting this press to true, setting a sprite, which changes it to look like it's down. And then I'm invoking that action that's defined over here, right? So these are public actions, trigger events, sorry, that can be called by the code. And that's where that allows you in the inspector to say, this button should be hooked up to this door. In fact, I'll demonstrate it a different way. Right now it's hooked up to the door. I'm going to hook my button here up to this green chest. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the button and I'm going to lock my inspector because it just makes this easier. So green chest, and drop it in there, and the function I'm going to call inside the chest is from my chest interaction script I've got on that chest, and I'm going to say open. So now if I play the game, it should be over here, start. If I walk onto the button, the chest opens. If I play it again, and push this on there, it should also work. Chest opened. And then, like, what that allows me to do is I create one prefab for this button style, and it's infinitely flexible what I can define with it to do. Like, so this button, let's say the door, which is this weirdly named object, this FF. I put that there, and I say, now, door controller, when you get called, do open when it's on the pressed event. When it's on the unpressed event, I want on the door to go back to closed. And the door should do those things. Also for collision, then checking comparison tags, then invoking Unity events when it interacts. Yes. So it's closed, it's open. Ignore the animation. That's the animation is just playing by default. I need to turn it off by default. But it's working. The tag thing was just so that my NPCs can't interact with it by default, but I have the option of, you know, removing that tag or setting a different tag on there. Some of these other ones, I forget what they were. The pushable object, which is what? Pushable block. Did I do it on here? I did not. There was something I set a layer to. I can't remember what it is now. Maybe it's my lever. Lever's the same type of deal. I've got events on it as well. Just doesn't use tags. And the main thing was, like, initially I was looking for any collider, but my enemies are going to have colliders on them too, right? So that they can not walk through walls and stuff. So I didn't always want the enemies to do that. I probably have another variant that I'll create that allows that. I could also set it as a variable, right? A list of tags. Inspector. So what were we doing? We were looking for the velocity, right? Setting this velocity 2D, but that's protected. Is there any way it gets used, perhaps? We're like the getter? Let me try something. I doubt it's going to work though. So, AI dot velocity. There is a velocity. A suggestion. If you mess with physics 2D settings, you can change what layers that collide with each other in your case. You can add interactable layers. That's true. So that on the player layer it can collide with it. That's very true. That would set it globally similar to how I have with my tags, right? Does that work for triggers as well as normal colliders? Because they're triggers, right? So you can push through the collider. I would think it would. Cool. Let's try this velocity instead. Pro Red, did you ever play a game called Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past? It's a old school game at this point, right? It's for the Super Nintendo. It's not a clone, right? It's not that, but it's heavily inspired by it, right? I loved that game growing up. So where is my barbarian? His velocity is changing, yes. His facing is changing, yes. Triggers wouldn't be triggering unless the triggers were on layers that it collides with. Cool. So from that answer, it sounds like they do impact it. Now, we've got him working except for the fact that his animations aren't playing. So he's changing his direction. That's what we want. Did I not set the velocity? Aha, I didn't. So let's just go back to using vertical velocity and horizontal velocity for this. So you can also increase your performance by removing unnecessary collision tracks. That's very true. That screwed him up. I'm gonna be curious though how that'll impact my other things I've already got set up, right? So I might have to rework some stuff if I do that, right? I'm also kind of wondering my new AI system that I'm just testing out with today. I wonder if it looks for colliders, right? And those colliders then... Nice! He's walking around. He looks like a real thing. Ah, oh, dang it. I hit the wrong button. I wanted to hit pause and unpause. Anyway, it looks at all the colliders in the scene and determines where the AI can walk and where it can't. Does the equivalent of a nav mesh in the default Unity stuff in 3D. Oh, this is awesome. Because guess what, guys? So what I haven't shown you is my barbarian here is awesome. Let me find him in my prefabs. Now that we've got one working, we create a prefab variant. Create a prefab variant. And let's say night. We'll just call it night because this guy's probably going to go away. Prefab. And then on this stuff is where the power of this asset comes in, right? So his headwear. I'm going to click on this. And let's lock this so I don't accidentally grab the wrong one. So he's currently wearing this on his head. Let's make him wear this instead. Boom. His left shoulder's got that. Let's see something better for him to wear on his left shoulder. It's outside, so it's probably this one. Yup. And then his right shoulder. And this is his upper left arm. Grab the one for the right arm. And lower. That's probably these pieces, so that looks like this is the left one. There we go. And his hand equipment. I don't know where the gloves are on this. There we go. Oh, that's the wrong sprite for that one. I like this glove better. This right-handed stuff is way off. Where's the right-handed ones? Those are not quite lining up right. I don't think they're the right sprites. And we can leave them without gloves right at the moment, just so I can power through this. So let's grab his chest equipment. Let's give him this chest equipment instead. body equipment. Where'd it go? His belt. Let's try that. Also forgot to mention that my system supports interactions channeled interactions. Interactions that require interactions for a certain amount of time. Oh. I got what you're going for though. It's like you had to push the button for so long. That kind of thing. That's a cool effect because you could set up a trap where you have to stand on something for so long while enemies come at you. I gotta find the right piece here. What am I doing wrong? Belts. Let's go with this belt then. That looks good. Yeah, I pour the level for a certain amount of time. Exactly. Hip equipment. You can keep what you've got because I can't even see that on you. So leg equipment. Looks like we probably need to go with that one. What? It's that. We're gonna go with that then. Which did not look right because of the coloring. Okay, so we'll get to the color in a second. His shoes. Let's go with more of a shoe like that. Even though a knight's probably gonna have something more like this, right? Or this, better yet. And it provides books, Unity events that require it to make an easy to start animation for interaction. So you're making it very abstract then. I got you. I got what you're going for. So then the other shoe, the one pointing this way. Okay, and then pants there, like, I'm not happy with his pants. Those do not look like the proper pants. But I also don't see the proper pants. But what we can do is say, grab this color. And it will shade it those colors. Still not quite right though. I think you guys get the point. You can customize how the character looks. I hit update sprites, it does it for the other other three directions. And now I've got a knight variant, right? And this knight variant we can drag into our scene. And you should just work. Let's drag him into this overworld scene next to our chest, I guess. So we can play around with one in here. Play. I wouldn't say it's very abstract, the hooks. It's similar to what you're doing with your button events. Okay. But you're like making it so you don't have to code a lot to do the things that you're after, right? You just flat out broke. Why aren't you going? Did I not set your speed and stuff? Seeker script. Oh, that's what's wrong. Okay, so we need to go to our desert scene. Cool. So are you trying to build something for the asset store then? Or are you just trying to build it so that you can make your own game? I'll take that as a compliment, I think. Thank you. Sorry about your sleep schedule. You haven't been up all night too, have you? Okay, so I need to probably in my night then Save my barbarian. My knight, then I need to update it, maybe? Oh, there's no overrides because the variant was based on... Oh, dang. I'm aiming for the asset store. If not, for Unity wanting to replace their 2D game kit with it. Oh, dang. So, what I saw of your stream the other day, it looked like you were doing a side-scrolling 2D game, right? You know, that's similar to what I'm doing, but different in regards... What I found out by doing it this way, you know, you think that it's like very, very similar, but you need different sprites for each direction with what I'm doing. I mean, I'm aiming for that later option. Yeah. Also plan on add top-down support. Cool. So, like, just keep that in mind. Like, your characters and your animations, you need not left and right only, which is really just flipping the scale, right? They're setting a negative on the scale to do that. You need to be able to move up, you need to be able to move down, and if you wanted an 8-directional one, then you need 8 different characters, right? And the way these characters are set up, they're doable, right? Like, I've got it working, but it's a pain, right? Having different objects that flip on and off. Whew. Took me some scratching my head to figure that one out, how I'm going to efficiently do this, right? So why isn't this guy going? Well, first off, his current direction needs to be down, because that's what he's doing. Enemy AI interaction. Max chill time. He doesn't have a target at all, but he'll set that on his own. He'll set the player on his own. His detect range is set. His max chill time is set. The velocities are not set. Does he not have a rigid body? He's got a rigid body. He's got a circle collider. Yep, the goal is to provide a basic implementation, but allow the devs to replace the movement with their own system if they want. Yeah, yeah. Modular is very good. No, I don't want to distract from what you're going for. Why is he not working? Like, we might need to step through the code for this guy. So he's got my script on him. Whoa! Okay, back to the prefab. That was interesting. Obviously the code's running because he updated his animation style, but this piece here, the character script did not run. Because this should update sprites for all those different directions. Also, don't worry about keeping me up all night. There hasn't been a night in a while where I went to sleep early. I don't know where you're at in the world, man, but it's 9 a.m. here. You went to sleep now. It's early for me. That's early for you. When I play games with my friends overnight and stuff, we're like up till 4 or 5 in the morning or whatever. We tell each other good morning when we're done. I'm on the East Coast. But I've been having trouble sleeping. I've been waking up like at 4 a.m. Last 3 or 4 days. Which is fine. Like, I can get on stream in the morning then, right? When I'm not working. So the animation shouldn't have had any impact on it, right? Or 6 a.m. Okay. And you're like 3 hours behind me too. So you're 6 a.m. I'm already like at work. When you've been going to bed, I've already been at work for a while. Hi, what is going on with this guy? Like, I get why he's moving, why he's doing this, but why isn't the script updating his assets? That's the whole point in that script. Yeah, so it's definitely coming back. Am I doing something wrong to the prefab variant to not get it set right or saved? Let's see, is there overrides on it? Now we've got this. What's the difference here? It's down. So let's apply that to the prefab. Right, he's changing clothes because that, like I was saying, so each one of these has different, each direction is a different game object that's getting activated or deactivated. So when he's changing direction to go left, he's using those assets that are tied to that. But this script here, this update sprites button, should be setting that for everything. Let's click it again. Okay, and I'm gonna look at the console. There's 4 warnings. And that's not it. Let's clear everything. Let's hit update sprites. Talking about abstract design, I've been working on a game in which every single thing is loaded from files, so tiles, entities, crafting recipes, and everything is built around a component-based system. Working on that yeah, I was gonna say, good luck with that project, because like that is a lot of work to do that, and I understand your timeline that you've been working on it now. So I make no question in my mind that this project I'm working on now is not going to be a month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, 5 month type of thing, right? I'm very well aware with like where I want to go with this. It could be a year, but I think everything that I want to do with it is within my realm of capabilities, except maybe the art. And I'll just have to power through that. Been working on your system for a month? Yeah. So, Z Doctor, I'm going to ask you, because I know you're working on 2D games, do you get this? So I'm going to walk around here and see if I can get it to happen again on my screen and get it freeze so I can describe it. Come on. The tearing between sprites. It sounds like you got a lot done. Oh, I had it on the screen, I didn't realize it. Go on. I don't know if you noticed it, but there's little black lines that are popping up. I don't know if they're coming across on the stream unless I stop when one's on the screen. They're hard to keep on the screen. Okay, so you've seen it before, so you know what I'm talking about. Noticed it for a while now. I had these in my game too. So I have researched the crap out of this and haven't found a valid solution that fixes it 100% of the time. I've found solutions that make it better. I found solutions that make it worse. Nothing that flat out fixes it. MSAA is turned off. Anti-aliasing is turned off. I've tried the Pixel Perfect camera. It might have worked, but it basically made my camera so that instead of being like from here away, it was like here on me, right? So it made everything 10 times bigger than I wanted it to be. Couldn't get that to work without a lot of hassle. Yeah, so Pro, that's what I'm afraid I might have to do, is putting a 1 pixel wide border around every single tile in my tile set to solve that. But that is not going to be easy, because then I have to redo everything that I've done so far, right? Because I've got all these different tile sets. So my town tile set, for example, tile map, let's say this one. I open this up in Photoshop. There's a whole lot of tiles in here, and the grass is right here. So I would have to separate everything out quite a bit, move them around a lot to get it to work, and then re-establish each individual sprite on its new location in the sprite sheet. It does have to do with pixel position rounding from what I've gathered as well, right? So my camera is like in a position where when it tries to draw that sprite, it's rounding, right? It up of us on extra characters instead of keeping them exactly where they are. It just seems like this is such a common thing that there should be a definitive, this is how you fix it type of solution for Unity. And from what I can tell, there's not. There's like It might be this, 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 or this. And then there's what Pro Red said, which is always the last one everybody suggests. This should fix it, which is just adding adding an extra pixel to all your sprites. I don't want to have to do that. That's awful. There it's yellow because this is probably not from the same sprite sheet. This is from the sprite sheet where there's this dirt next to it, and that's what's showing up, so that's why it's yellow there. And this is something funky that happened a while back. My sprites got resized or something and never got fixed. Okay, so we got that guy working still. I didn't look at the knight when we were here. Did he work? Start, please. Oh, I know why he's not working. This may not be what you're looking for, but you could potentially make it an image instead, maybe even an auto-generated image and render that instead. That might work for the ground tiles, right? So, one big image for the ground. I guess that's probably where it's happening the worst, is the ground tiles for some reason. I haven't noticed it happening on the houses and things like that for some reason. And maybe that's a key to figuring out the solution. Let me check my grid. So I've got several tile maps that's going on. This is this one. The order in layer is set to 0 on that one. But I wouldn't think that would make a difference. We'll set it to 1 and see if it happens. In theory, it shouldn't, right? Yeah, it's still doing it. Yeah. I mean, if I have to go the route of adding an extra pixel to everything, I can. Just such a pain to redo what equivalent is my entire world right now. So this scene, my desert scene, my house scene, which is apparently disabled right now. Where are you, house? Are you just that small? Okay. There it is. My house scene. My cave, which is just junk for right now. It's just that was my first I'm loading a different scene example. I guess that's it. So overworld, house 1, desert, and cave, which cave can be gone. So I'd have to redo 3 entire maps. The part that's frustrating to me is not the first time I've had to redo them. So the reason that the knight's not working, let's fix that. Let's create this game object called A star and actually add the map mesh to it. I forgot to set it up in the scene. Copy component. Back to overworld. And paste as new component. Boom. And then focus on it. There you are. Wow. Oh, okay, let's cut some serious numbers off of that. There we go. Try and center it somewhat. And increase the range. Say 5. Say 3. 2. 248. Sure. This is going to change slightly anyway, because like this area is going to be different. I might change those. By how high? 50. There we go. And scan. And the grid, I think we put that up. No, we didn't. Hold on. Yep, the Z position's off. That's why it's showing funny, I think. It just shows funny naturally. Nice. Why is it behind stuff? My other scene didn't do that. You could see the nav mesh over top of it. Scan again. Now I changed it to Z. Ah. That shouldn't do it though, should it? My CM confiner? The trigger. I'm using Cinemachine to confine the camera. So triggers get picked up then. Yep. This trigger here got picked up, this trigger here, this trigger here. So those are non-navigatable areas by default. So we need to put those things on a layer by themselves so that it ignores them. We need to change layers, basically. I'm trying to decide in my mind. That's why I'm sitting here. What's the solution? Do we change the layer here to a specific layer, which we do have to do, but or do we change it on the grid? So those grid objects are on different layers because they're on default right now. We could just say collisions is on a specific layer. Collidable. Come on, let me type. And we'll say collisions is on collisions. And A star gets put to say collisions. And we say scan. Oh, it's mixed. Okay. Yeah. Okay, those are now walkable. Then on my chest, because the chest has 2 colliders. CM confines on default. Okay, so the chest has 2 colliders. Let's. Is that a variant or is that the original? I think green was the original. Dang, you can't. You'd be able to walk through the chest, basically. Not the end of the world, but I was thinking I could put. I still can. Like, I can set another object up on one layer. That's the collider for the chest itself. Like, you can't walk through it. I just never created a collider at all for it, is the problem. I have a trigger on it, only. Okay, so before jumping into all that, let's make sure our night now works. I'm pretty sure that's what we're rolling. And where is our player? What is going on? Holy lag, man. Main menu, right? I did that, right? Okay. Let's try this again. it's not loading my main menu. Come on, little script I created. This one. Okay, start. Where's my player? Okay, there he is. Set me as confiner, and I see him canvas the machine. Got the confiner set up. Why is the camera not going to the confined area? Animator not playing animator controller. Okay, that's fine. My character's moving, he moved. So I can play the game. It's just the animators, or the, yeah, see, there he is. Okay, Knight, are you looking for player? You are. You don't have him targeted yet. He's on top of you, dude. Why aren't you going for him? His gravity scale 0. He's not static. Like, I'm tempted to just start hitting Control Z until this works, because I don't know what I did that broke it, other than setting the layer. And I just set it for this object, right? Let's hit it back to default and run. Start the game, yeah. Why is my camera not wanting to go there? I didn't change anything in that other game object. That other scene, because I didn't have it loaded. So I'm actually, when I start the game, so I set up a script that basically says set as a specific main menu scene as my play mode scene, right? So that it loads this. I don't want to save you. It loads this as my start scene. When I hit start, it runs a script that loads a always loaded scene and loads overworld additively, right? So both of them get put into play at the same time. That scene, the always loaded scene, is what has my camera, my CM or Cinemachine setup, the player, all that stuff. So we shouldn't have impacted the camera at all because it wasn't loaded. It's still on the default layer. Default layer, default layer. Let's try playing it now because I didn't tell it to save the overworld. I can't remember when the last time I saved the overworld is. See, and our camera moves, but it's offset where it's at in relation to the player. It's like our Cinemachine target is off. Okay. Don't care about you. That's just the confiner. Young hero is the target to follow. It's like it can't go vertical. It's following me horizontally. It can't move vertically. Does the camera have a collider by mistake? No. That's nothing. Ah, fun. 0.5. Y dampening is on, but not extreme. Look at it smoothing. Doesn't really care. None of this shit has changed. Dead zone width, height, center on activate. Let's just add more extensions. Well, if anyone's used Cinemachine before and can understand what's going on here or has any ideas, please let me know. Do I need to reset the camera's transform? And it just pops it back to where it is. Why would the camera be locked to that section? I'm not sure what action I did, but Cinemachine will not go vertical anymore. Like, it won't allow the camera to move vertical. Maybe I need to check my Cinemachine collider on the overworld. So I set up a confiner area, right, that lets it not the camera not go outside a specific area. Ah, its bounds are all screwed up now, aren't they? I bet. Where are they? Yep, that's what it is. It's all down at the bottom now. Okay. So can I undo that somehow, maybe? Nope. Thank you. Like, every time I hit edit, it's like a different location where the thing is. Hello, Naloth. Thank you for the follow. Apparently my Streamlabs notification is not working, but my email is, so thank you for your follow. Appreciate it. Oh, wait. It is... Wait, what? I can't... There it is. My email's faster than Streamlabs today. Thank you for the follow again. One little checkbox is all it takes to screw this up, apparently. I turned the collider off. When that happens to me, I toggle night mode and it shows up when I activate it. Night mode in what? In your Streamlabs? Because I'm using OBS. Just have Streamlabs notifications. Yeah, I have OBS, not SLOBS. I'm old school, before the Streamlabs. I know you can import stuff, but... I've got different scenes set up with my Stream Deck, and it's just easier for me to keep using what I've already got. So. Although, this side, I need a light over there. I'm casting a shadow from my key light onto my green screen, and that's what makes that happen over there. I need another fill light. Alright, so that is what's wrong. But why though? Slobs uses OBS and you can import your settings right here. But Slobs doesn't have everything OBS has. At least last when I checked it, right? Slobs was a subset of the features in OBS. Slobs. I like calling it Slobs. Okay, so this was done because I wasn't sure about that collider causing an issue, which I turned it off. So let's now turn scan again. There we go. Save, please. Yes, yes. What IDE am I using? In Unity, it's just Visual Studio now. Originally, I was using MonoDevelop all the time, but I forget when it was. I've gone back and forth several times. One would be slow to load, and the other would be slow to load, and then I would get sick of using the one. Right now, I'm on Visual Studio. I'll probably stay with it. We'll see. Okay, now why isn't our knight going for us? Now that he's got a nav mesh to work with. Seriously, Matthew? Really? I've had Facecam for quite a few streams, like year or more. Go to your local hardware store and you can pick up a LED bulb and reflector on for cheap. My lighting, yeah, the lighting I'm using is $20 too. It's literally a $20 light from Walmart. It's got a nice big, like this big around lampshade for it, but it's plastic. So, and it's white plastic, so it reflects 100% of the light. And then I got like 100-watt LED. Like it's bright. It hurts to look at. Sample size is 1, 100% result. Now we just need to figure out why our knight isn't working and we're golden. Like, I'll be happy. There's lots of things that are different from the prefab, but it's all of our... We're going to apply all these because we want this in the prefab. That's all of our sprites just got fixed now. The character setup script is there. What else is this relying on? How did you play this game? Did you put it all on paper? No, I'm horrible at doing that. I have a Trello board that I've got a half-baked idea put into there, but in my mind I've got a 3/4 baked idea of how it's going to do. I think it's 100 watt. I can't dare look at it any closer to see for sure. But yeah, it was a very high wattage LED. Like the actual wattage it used. But it's still less than a normal lamp, right? But my thought behind it was get the highest wattage LED one because it produces that much more lumens, so that it generates all light. I want to flood the room with light, right? Yeah, it's ridiculous, especially with that white background behind it on the plastic. And ML development, you need to get one of those so you can be seen on your stream because you look like you're sitting in the dark. It makes your... So what I found was I have a nice webcam, right? But it looked like crap all the time. So here, close up. It looked like crap all the time. There was grain on the screen all the time because there wasn't enough light in the room. It will improve the quality of it dramatically by having enough light. So, Icy, thank you. Welcome to the stream. Will there be ray tracing support? I just got to. No need for ray tracing support. There will be ray tracing in the game, but not like that. The webcam is like what is a Logitech C920 or something like that. I will be doing ray tracing as to figure out where things are, but not lighting. And someone asked me that earlier. I think I see what she's doing. Someone asked me the same thing. Small sensors have hard time with low light. Exactly. Because they just can't capture the light. We'll flood it with light. I was on something. Oh, yes. What all scripts do we need on this thing? We've got a target. We've got a game object. It's just a rigid body. Character setup, which we've got. We've got the rigid body. We've got the AI. I was the stream with a pixel art girl with red hair. Yeah, I remember. Maybe last night. I can't remember. That's for time. Thought I hit a space character. I did. Shoot. There's lots of debug statements in here that are causing an issue. So debug.log. Let's get rid of these. We've got this sorted out now. We no longer need you. Your services are no longer needed. So that we can see actual errors in the console now. Let's go game, turn off maximize, we'll hit play. Oh, we're getting error messages. I'll have to fix those. Okay. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Like, they need more categories in general. I get why they did what they did, right? First off, I have found that streaming under science and technology has gotten a lot more views than what I would under other ones where I was doing programming. And like before, like creative and stuff. Not sure if you can. You asked you, but how long have you been streaming on Twitch for TechStack? In total, I've had my account for a couple years, like 3 or 4 or more years, but I didn't always stream in a consistent fashion. Like I would stream for a month and then stop for 6 months, kind of thing. More and more, I'm streaming more often. Like so far, every day this year, except for one. I've streamed every day, and that goes back into last year a little bit even. Yeah. Z-Doctor, they used to have a game development category. Yeah, they need to have that, right? I mean, they're about games, right? There's a lot of developers that do that, and there's like a lot of people that are interested in seeing it, it seems. Yeah. Yeah. I streamed on my YouTube channel is even older. I would do both, ProRed. Then I realized you're not supposed to do that on Twitch once you become affiliate. The only reason I say that is because Unity 3D is a popular game engine and a huge community. Agree. Okay, so he's getting attacked. He responds to movements. He does his animations when he gets moved. He's just not getting moved by the AI. Well, let's debug. Attach to Unity. Okay. That reminds me, I was gonna say I have a Discord for when I'm streaming, and I forgot to tell people I was streaming today. Right, they don't care if you stream to other platforms, but when you become an affiliate, in the affiliate agreement, it says that when you do a live stream, they have exclusive rights to the content of the live stream for 24 hours. So for those first 24 hours, you are not allowed to stream it anywhere else or upload it anywhere else. After that 24 hours, they don't care. So what I've been doing more recently is I will live stream on Twitch, and after one day, 24 hours, I will then export that Twitch stream over to YouTube, and people can watch it on YouTube. Because I had about 700, 750 subscribers on YouTube. Quite a few more than I have followers here on Twitch, so push it over there, they can watch it. Because not everyone can always watch it live. Yeah, exactly. If you're not uploading anywhere, then you're fine. Or if you're not an affiliate. I think it's only part of the affiliate And probably the partner agreement as well, right? The partner agreement might even say a longer time. I don't know. Yeah, it was something I didn't pick up on initially. That's why I did it both for a while, and then I seen somebody was talking about it and realized, hey, I shouldn't be doing this, so I stopped right away. 28 subs. Can't believe you have 20 subs, man. That's ridiculous. That's a lot of subs. So congratulations. Good job, man. And it's not like when I say I can't believe that, like I can't. It's not against you at all. Like I mean, I've had 1 or 2 subs the entire time I've ever been doing this. So that's an astonishing thing to have 28 subs and only doing it for a short period of time. What's the difference between partner and affiliate? Okay, I'll tell that in a second. Yeah, you only use YouTube for pre-recorded streams or whatever. I don't use it for live streams. Okay. The same guy and gave me lots of videos. So you just found basically the gaming equivalent of a whale, right? A person that's got money they want to share with you. What's the difference between partner and affiliate? So partner is like for smaller channels. They're very limited. You can start to get subscribers. Those subscribers like you can't do advertising like you can't run an advertisement. I can't trigger it to happen when you're affiliate. I think the share ratio is a little different too. Twitch gets a bigger chunk of the change. Partner get access to ads. Yeah, exactly. There's also, so if you were subscribed to my channel right now, I'll show you. There's some emotes that you can do. Let's trigger them all. That are subscriber only emotes, those ones. And as you gain followers and get to partner, you start to unlock additional emotes that you can add for people to use when they subscribe to you, basically. Right, Dr. Z. I personally have Twitch Prime, and I never see an ad on Twitch when I watch Twitch. Partners get paid for ads. Yeah, exactly. Although who knows how much it is, right? Okay, so let's just step through our code here. We'll step over all the steps. Okay, so he was false on that one, so he hasn't reached the end of his path. What is he pathing to? He was not tracking the player either. What is his target? It's not assigned. Okay. So we need to have okay, I get it. This is why he's not working and the other one is. We haven't ever defined him as a having a target location by default. The other one did. So he's never going to reach his path. So that piece of code's never going to run where it sets his target. So we just need to do this right here in start. So he's got a destination to go towards. And then we'll set his destination. Where is that? Oops. Control V. Yeah, you need to use it. So this is my 2 cents, right? You need to use it in other people's channels. I've found that some people like my emote, right? So they take interest in it, kind of thing. Unassigned reference. Blah 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 blah. What? Because we never set a target itself. Okay. And that would be a problem. Can we just say new transform? That's all I need. You can't do new transform, right? target. Target equals transform. We'll set it to ourselves temporarily so that it can do things like this. That is not the line I wanted at the end. This is the line. And then this is no longer needed, I would assume. So anyway, what I was saying was use your emote in other people's channels because it stands out as you being somebody that's got an affiliate, basically, right? So other streamers recognize that, and I personally usually like hover my mouse over it, and like I'll see that says Z Doctor or Z Docto hello, right? So those type of things help make you stand out a little bit among other people on Twitch. Fable of target has not been assigned. Okay, so I do need to do that. Little hack. Now will you chase me down, please? Yes, you will. I don't know what I did there, but he's stuck on me like glue. He's pushing me around too. What did I do? What? Yes, there you go, ML. Yeah, so yes. Yep. If y'all want to spam your emotes in my chat, I don't care. Go for it. Just don't do it all the time. But that's why my first emote was the hand thing saying hi, basically, because I wanted to be able to use it in other people's channels when I go in there. In addition to people like my subscribers, when they come in, they can use that then, right? Hey, thank you for the follow. Size slash. Appreciate it. So what is it? It's tech something. I can never remember my own emote name, so I usually just use the GUI. So it's that, and then power. So this combination of emotes goes pretty well too. Below the stone dev, like she's in that one, because it's like I'm going like this or wherever my camera's at, you know, kind of thing. Both hands. You're Russian. Did you find me from my mod, my Minecraft mod? Because there is a lot of people that like my Minecraft mod that are Russian. A lot of people, like a ridiculous amount of people, like found it from Russia somehow. This is C#. I'm using Unity and C#. So this is the transform, not of the player. This is the transform of the. I'm really confused why that put me on the player, or put the enemy on the player. We're saying transform that position, so it's our current position, right? Which would be over here. And I'm gonna say our, I mean the enemies. So the enemy's position's there. We're taking a random range. We're setting the target to transform, which is our current position. You made a Minecraft mods? So have I. What's it called? TechStack's Heavy Machinery mod. I've got over 60,000 downloads in your mod now. Yeah, thank you. Right around New Year. Why didn't I choose JavaScript? because I prefer C# over JavaScript. I've never learned JavaScript, and JavaScript and Java are not the same thing, and I think it runs more efficiently in C# anyway, in Unity at least. Do I program in Python? I currently have only dabbled in Python, but my job this year is probably going to make me learn it completely. Oh, right, anyway, I was saying right around New Year, the CurseForge reward store finally renewed all their stuff, so I got like a $20 Amazon card. So thank you everyone that's downloaded my mods. What mod did you make, Z Doctor? It's a pity you almost did not understand what you said. I apologize. Probably is very difficult. So part of what I was saying about the Russian piece was that there was a Russian YouTuber who found my mod and made a bunch of videos about it, and those were difficult for me to watch, but I wanted to watch them because people made a video about my mod, right? And I put on the YouTube translation stuff at the bottom of the screen, and that was rough, really rough, because like it doesn't translate perfectly. You can just tell, and I don't know, like it every time he would say mod, you would think that he was saying fashion somehow. I don't know. It's just like, this fashion is so wonderful, or whatever he was saying, right? It was just funny to watch the horrible translation they did. So we're setting the AI's destination. We're never setting the position of. No. Why can't we do new transform? Made a few, but my most popular ones are add-ons for Blood Magic and called Blood Baubles or More Seeds. Huh. I'm sure there is a type of game that can be made in Python. However, I personally would not use it for that because I don't know how it does graphics. I don't know it at all really from that standpoint. I only know that it can do command line stuff. I'm sure it's possible to do graphics with it, but I just don't know the libraries and stuff. So it needs the position, rotation, and scale of the object. So we'll say transform position and transform rotation. You know what Go.Engine is? If so, how are you giving it to him? I know what it is, never anything other than it's a game engine. That's all I know. On Blood Bubbles of the 3000. There is a library called Pygame, which is quite powerful, I've seen. Oh, cool. Scale. Transform. That's scale. Sure. Data science, especially Python, is a must. And for Red, that's why I need to learn it for work. Things are changing. Personally, I don't think C# is hard to understand, but I've had quite a bit of programming experience from different languages over the years. Okay, show me the freaking definition of this, because apparently I don't get it. You can create a new transform. Can't. Yeah, that's what I was expecting, but I need one. I just set it to myself, will that work? Like, I thought that's what I just did, right? I thought I set it to myself, and then it set me on the player for some reason. Right, but it moves him. It's like, it's... Did I somehow turn on, like, teleport mode for the AI? Oh. Right. So my target position... Okay. Alright, and I was just trying to set it something so it wasn't null, right? That's all I was going for with that. So that you can start pathing towards it. But it's taking it... Let's take this out. You should stay still then, right? Yeah, he stays still, but he never moves. What the heck? He's just like... He's an Enderman. Just teleports all over the place. Yeah, never moves, and then he just jumps all over the place, right? Why would doing this make him teleport? So target is a transform that I'm setting to be the position I'm trying to go to, right? All the time for the AI target. And then down at the bottom of the AI code, or after it figures out what the target should be, it sets it to the destination on the AI. So the A-star pathfinding object says, give me a path to that location, basically, right? I could just use it as a position, I guess. It doesn't have to be a transform. So a vector 3 might be safer. Why am I changing the transform position? Because you can't change the transform directly. Don't change its position. I'm not trying to change the transform of the game object I'm working on, just the target. Where you see somewhere I'm setting the transform. Now he shouldn't do anything because he's at his path, his destination, blah blah blah. Okay, and then sometimes it's the player's transform. Sometimes it's a random location on the map. So that's why I don't have it set as always being the player's transform. Like, so if the player is not in range, he will pick a new random location, basically, which is what this is doing. And this is all working on my other one. So if I go back now that I've got this disabled, if I just say, I don't know, the exit point is my target, he's going to walk towards that exit point, and this is all going to work. Or not. What the heck? Vetskis use victories as their target. Yeah. Unless you need transfer. No. Well, I'm getting the player's transform, but I'm getting the position off the player, right? It's all to hold a position. I just did transform so I could drag it down into the inspector real quick while I was initially setting it up. Let me go into the desert, make sure that that guy's working, because we've been monkeying with the code here, and maybe I broke him too. Because they're both using the same script. No, he's working fine. So what's the difference with this guy then? Let's go in the desert. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I want to see what these settings are. I'm going to compare them. A junk email. Okay, let's load up the desert scene now. I've got that saved on my other screen. So, I'm going to ask this. Does anyone here that knows how to do menus and stuff in Unity know how to make them dynamic? So what I mean by that is my main menu something or another, something. No, let me find the script. This editor script here. I've got it set up so that the menus are set, right? Is there a way for me to define this menu so it's dynamic, the number of items that are on the menu and what they are? Because like the only way I know is to say menu item, which is hard coded in, right? You can't loop through some. Okay, ML. Have a good stream, man. So like instead of creating a, maybe it's not possible. Instead of creating a method for each menu item, what I would like to do basically is have a context, not a context, a child menu that looks like this, right? So I want to have a component, so tools, select scene or open scene, right? And it lists out all the scenes that are in a specific folder so that I can jump to that scene instead of having to navigate down here and do this every single time to open a scene. I want to go tools, open scene, desert. Boom, and it goes to desert. But I don't want to have to hard code that I have an entry for desert, an entry for main menu, an entry for overworld, an entry for house. I want to write the code that scans the directory for scenes and list out all those scenes on the menu. That's kind of a side thing I want to do because I find it annoying jumping back and forth between scenes. Okay, what's different? Dang it. How am I going to do this? You dock over here. AI path. Both same there, 2. 1.6. So the AI path section is the same. We've got a game object. They're different game objects, granted, but they're a transform on the target. And all the numbers are the same. Up versus down shouldn't matter. That's for my animation system, with which one's the active. In fact, I'm going to set it to down here, and we'll play this. Okay, he's not doing anything. So attributes are compiled during runtime. Okay, so he's still wandering around, so he's still working. Let me see if I get close to him. Does he try and track me? Yeah, he does. So he's still working, so the down thing had nothing to do with it. Attributes are compiled during... Right, that's what I'm saying. So is there a way to, instead of doing it this way, defining an attribute on it, use some other method to say what the menu should be and maybe pass it as a parameter to the method that you're calling, right? Because you would need some method to say this, right? And I would have to think that Unity has something like that, because this create menu is dynamic, right? I know the other pieces of code are adding each individual piece in, but I would think there's some way of doing it. And if there's not, could I do it on a context-sensitive menu? Like if I just right-click over here and say, open scene, that would work for me too. I just want an easy way to go list out all these scenes without having to change my folder I'm in. Because like if I'm working with prefabs, I'm probably doing it in multiple scenes. I don't have to change my folder. And yes, I know I can lock it, right? But then I have to have another project window to be able to go to the scenes folder. I don't know. I want to bend Unity to my will. Okay, so is it on the Seeker then? No, the Seeker just says traversable graphs, everything. That shouldn't be it. Rigid body? I think so. Character script has nothing to do with this. The circle collider? No friction? I think I copied that when I set up the scene. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. We're gonna apply all these to the prefab. And then we're gonna go to the desert. Sure, save. And we're going to take our enemy knight. Not there though. Let's go over to our barbarian. We're gonna put our enemy knight in here and see if he works here, because that would mean it's on the A star object that something's funky. Which is possible. Still doesn't work here. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So they have to be literally hard-coded in, each one. Okay. Yes, agree. Like, maybe there's a script I could write that would generate the script that gets compiled that does what I want it to do. Right? There's nothing saying I can't write code. Did I do the art myself? I did this desert background art myself. The majority of art I did not do myself, no. What was I on to? This guy's just not working. It's something with him. It's not the A star object. It's not me, it's you. Oh, this animator error message. This could be it, right? Because he's getting down into here, trying to set his speed, and it can't for some reason. So we need to investigate that. Animator's not playing on the animator controller. No, character down. You can create a mono behavior that you can enter the scene names and add buttons for each scene and have it load when you click the button. Oh, like an inspector window? Or it was not like another window? That would work for me too. Like a window that just lists out all the scenes that are there, and then each button. That might be something I look into though. Thank you for that suggestion. That's a good suggestion. Like I'm fine with having another window open somewhere that I can use for it. That's always, I guess that's basically what I'm just saying is I could do this, right? And then just tear that off and put it over here, and I can go to that scene whenever I want. Save. Don't save. So why aren't your animations working? Male character up, male character side, character side. We've got speed on there. Speed. Set trigger attack, set speed. The trigger. Oh, that's the player controller, dang it. I was gonna suggest opening another project tab, but I couldn't figure out how to open another one. Yeah, so if you do it on a window that's already got it docked, it won't let you do it. Like if I go down here and say add, oh, it does it. The other day it wouldn't do it for me, but you can just right click on any tab and say add tab, project. Oh, I did it for up here. I don't know why I couldn't do it down here the other day. Okay. So this is on the player here. This is on the... Animator's not playing an animator controller. Getting the active animator, which is the up, down, right, or left based on... Is this returning null? No, this should give me a null error instead of this. Current direction is down, up, left, or right, yeah. Well, let's set his direction to up again. In case it is the animation system, because I don't think I reset which one's active unless it's different than what your current position is. But even bumping him around should get rid of those then, if that was the case, because it does change his position. Entry point. Yeah, okay, we're good there. $174, $175. Those positions, it does not like that piece of code. Speed. And it does get a speed set when I do that. So that variable's there. You talking about CurseForge? Maybe check mine. Oh, nice. So yeah, on the reward store at the beginning of the year, they restocked their supplies of like Amazon cards and stuff to add. So if you're wanting an Amazon card, you might want to grab it because, assuming they're still in stock, they don't last long when that happens. I followed them on Twitter and they said that they were doing it. That's how I knew. They seriously go quick, from what I've seen before. It's like most of the year they won't have one. At least for the lower level rewards, right? So like the $20 card, like the bigger cards, I forget what the biggest one they have, like the $100 card or whatever it is, they typically have around because there's not many people that get to that level. And when they do, they get one and they're done, right? They don't, there's not a bunch of people going for them. But those small, like $20 ones are always out of stock. Yeah. I drink water from basically a beer stein. Let's put a breakpoint in here. I'm beyond puzzled as to what's going on here. That's up to you. Is your mod still being downloaded? Is it on a current version of Minecraft? How long have I been streaming? 3 hours? Fine. Oh. We're on that one. We don't want that breakpoint. So our current direction is up. So will this return anything? Is CS null? It is not, is night. And CS direction up. Male character up. He should have a... Not sure. I feel bad not updating it. I felt that way before. Updated it. I don't know. People always want more updates, I guess is what I'm saying. So it does get the animator. Right, exactly. So my mod's currently on 112.2, and we'll probably stay there for quite a while. I know like Forge isn't, until recently, like didn't even have 113 versions, so I couldn't update, but I don't foresee me going back and updating it to 113 in the near future, let's say. 113 of vanilla has definitely been out. 113 of Forge, I think they might be in the testing phases of it, right? So there's stuff that you can start working with if you really wanted to, but you don't have to. I'm a lot puzzled by this. Like, what is going on here? So did you look for, how do I describe this? The download page of Forge? Is that where you're looking? Okay. It might just be on the GitHub then. So on Twitter, I follow Lex Manos, and he was talking about having some testing. People could start testing. So I assumed there was something out there. It might be you just have to compile it yourself or something. I don't know. Or maybe he was talking about something I didn't get. I don't know. So let's step over this one. That was not over, was it? I was probably into. No. And I don't know what the problem is. That's why I haven't fixed it. So it's definitely getting these errors, but where? Continue. Okay, it's trying to run male character up right now because that is the current orientation. So we'll say down. Clear the inspector console. Okay, so you're now trying to set the animation correctly. And it's not giving you an error message. Let's push you to the side. Oh, it is giving an error message. It tried to do left. Why did it try and do left? It hadn't activated left yet. That's not my player controller scope. That's a different piece of code. I got something out of order then. I need to set my direction before setting these. Let's fix a bug with our player. Oh, come on. Now we're... Yeah, can't change right now. Let's push him. Come on, you can move. Come at me. My AA velocity equals 0. It's gonna do that and none of this. Okay, and what's this doing? Nothing of importance for this. Because all this is where it's setting the targets and stuff. So let's check this. We are not at our destination right now. And we are not tracking our player. We have a target. $495, $185. Oh, come on. Gotta remove my breakpoint so I can actually use Unity. Got it locked up. Our transform is not here. Okay, so what's your path then? You have no path. Using Windows 10. Did I not put that in my specs at the bottom of my page? Where's my exit point? I think I figured it out. That's the problem. My exit point location is off the nav mesh grid, so it can't go to it. So it can never reach the destination, so it never tries to find a new one. It doesn't even try and move. It's so far off the grid. So some of this code will help. I think if we take this out, and do this with this, and also we'll toss this in there for fun, he's going to pick a random location based on where he's at now and start walking towards it. Hopefully. And not get stuck like he was. But he is not. Did I not remove the target? I did. So before I joined, there were 2 people. After I joined, there's 17. You are a viewer magnet. Thank you. Might have something to do with time of day, too. I started streaming pretty early. I don't remember what time you joined. And you must be very tired now, because I think last time we talked, it was 6 a.m. for you, and it was like 9 for me. And you hadn't gone to sleep? I think Dr. Z or Z Doctor. I keep saying Dr. Z. Why do I keep saying? I know there's somebody I know that's like close to that name. That's probably why. So why did my transform not get set to this position of this random XYZ value? Let's look. I'm gonna go start. We're gonna go over here and we're gonna find that stupid knight and look at his target. He has none. And there's one actual heir. Unassigned. Okay. Let's forget this whole transform crap and let's do this right with a vector 3 and be done. Boom. So instead of saying this, we'll just say that. Instead of this, should be a tiny bit more efficient too, right? Doesn't have to look up all these on the other object. Oh my gosh, he's moving! Finally. Oh, you need to fill out a tax form? Yeah. I probably had one on record with them. Don't you have to do that when you're an affiliate on Twitch? So, that may not make much sense, but Twitch is owned by Amazon and Curse is now owned by Amazon, so it's all Amazon. Oh, seriously? That stinks that it takes several weeks. They might have like a generic statement on there in case you live in a foreign country. If you're in the United States, I don't remember it taking that long. Okay, so I need to set the Z thing on this script character too. Yeah, unless they're subsidiaries, right? And they each need their own tax form for whatever purposes. I don't know how they've got it structured. I do remember having to do tax forms, but it might have been before they were owned by Amazon when I did my first one with Curse. Or Twitch, whichever. What script is it? Set order in layer by Y. There we go. That should fix his. No. Nope. I did that wrong. So remove you. Go into the prefab instead. And use this. Add set order and layer to Y to all children. Boom. So it needs to be on the object that has the sprite render, not the parent object. And it will find the parent object. I'll answer for him. I have seen him use Unity. But yes. Why is the order and layer so freaking messed up? I should be behind him. It works for static objects. Maybe I got him set as static. Set a dynamic. Default. That's gonna be annoying if that's the case. Or it didn't apply the object. Dynamic. There we go. So we need to revert that one. And the target's different. So revert all. Nice. Guys following each other. Making a community. So amazing. On push. Why is your order and layer so low? You want a different layer, perhaps? Unattackable there, but that's not the layer I meant. It's this layer. Default. Got me beat, man. Oh, what's my follow count? 129? Night. Nail up. Let's just navigate down the tree. Sort order layers. Why? That's 13. It doesn't have the object on it. What the what? So this is on his bow of his up character. They still let you do that? Yeah, it's not on this object either. Maybe that's the issue. Did you get it? You did? Did you though? You did. So now I look at this one. It doesn't have it. What the heck? You need to be a partner in order to... That's what I thought. I didn't think it was something I could do. That's why I asked if you still could do it, because I didn't think it was possible right now. Oh, I got 22 viewers. Hello, everyone. Hey, thank you for the follow. Rambling Geek. Oh, you're hosting. Hey. Thank you. Let's check this again. Hey, I heard the noise. I automatically thought it was a follow. I got the same notice for both. It's not getting my object set on all the different things. Why? At all. Okay, let's go back to the prefab and let's just pull it from the prefab. Let's make sure it's on the prefab first. We're going to set this guy up from scratch because that's how I want it to be. Is it something about my little menu button here that's triggering it to not save it in the prefab? Like it doesn't recognize that something's changed? There, something's changed on you. Because there's no save button in a prefab. Okay, now is it on this one? It's there, but is it here? It is. Okay, man. Thank you. Have a good morning, I guess. Good night. Sleep well. There. If people leave, they know that they only followed me here. Oh, you're gonna make them leave saying that, man. So now he is properly showing in front of me when I am above him in the Y plane. Still getting hundreds of FPS. Awesome. As it should in a game like this, right? It's not that complex. Hate does not exist, yeah. We hit a knight. Cool. What is the hardest part? Knowing what all needs to be done. There's a lot of... how do I describe this? Magic behind the scenes that goes into making a game. Like, for example, in order for it to recognize that this character is hitting this character, it's firing a raycast out from the player out into space and seeing if it has hits an invisible collider. If it does, then it knows it hit something. That's why I'm slowly planning a game on paper. Well, like, I'm talking about the tricks behind the scene that like are not part of the game design itself. Game design's part of it, yes, but like game design would be like the player hits the enemy and the enemy loses health kind of thing, right? What I'm talking about is how do you know you hit an enemy and how do you reduce his health? Like breaking it down into smaller and smaller problems. Yeah, that needs to have my script on it probably if that's how the collider is on a thing. That's a tile map right now. Probably make the tile too big. And it's not like you need to learn exactly the way I described as the way to do hitting him. There's lots of ways you could do that, right? Just how do you want to do it for your game in this situation? We might need to adjust his speed. He seems a little slow. I mean, we can easily outpace this guy, especially when he's coming for us. But that's something we can adjust later. Let's see. That was what I wanted to accomplish when I started streaming 3.5 hours ago. Do you have a question? Go for it. What's the question? Go, go. Aw. Okay, no question. It's okay. I'll be okay. Eventually. And then that's like we would already have hit the teleport point at somewhere along there, and it would take us off to the thing. Because I have no teleport point, right? It's not doing that. It's about how do you know when you make a new script to call another script. I think I get what you're going for. And so there's a couple different things that could drive it, right? And a lot of it is around reusability, right? So if you want to be able to reuse a piece of code, then it needs to be its own unique script, right? Versus having one big script that does everything. There are some disadvantages in Unity to having multiple scripts that talk to each other. You have to figure out what the other script is, right? And when you do that, you use something called get component, which is this, right? So this this particular script, this enemy AI interactions, needs to know what the rigid body is on this, or the AI is on this game object, and we use get component to find that type of object. If that type of object's not there, it's going to return null, and that can cause problems for your code, right? It'll error off. So you have to do null checking and things for that, or tell it this is a required component at the top of your script, which I haven't done on this one, which I should. But if I type required component, type of IA star, there we go. We're gonna take that. It is. It's interesting. AI path is what we'll put though, because that's a type of this. Basically, that forces it to have that script. So that's one way. Like how do you want to reuse it? That's kind of one of the negatives of it. The other piece is like this script here. This is not code I wrote. This is someone else from another package that I've installed. So I don't want to directly go in and edit this script myself, because I want to keep this in a pristine state if I need to get a bug fix from them later. If I modified it, then I would lose that modification if I downloaded a newer version of it, that type of thing. So that in this case, that's why I did my own enemy AI interaction script instead of just creating it right in this AI path script itself. Compatibility, I guess, is what you could say. It just kind of like, is there a case where maybe this monster has a special attack and it's so special, like he's a ranged attack, right? So you need a different script for that, right? Versus a melee attack. Or you would need to create it into one and then have a variable that you can set that says my attack type is melee or my attack type is ranged, that type of thing. So complexity of your scripts too, like how complex do you want one single script to be? I try and keep things pretty simplified and modularized as much as possible. If you can't do it simple, then you may not understand the issue enough or haven't broken it down enough. I'm thinking after streaming for 3.5 hours, I probably need to take a bit of a break for a while. Not saying I'm not going to stream more, like in another half hour, an hour or so, or whatever. So let's do this. I'm going to go to my outro screen. Thank you for everyone that followed today. That's awesome that you did that. Trying to get a bit of an audience. I enjoy it more when there's people interacting with me. I think it makes it funner to do all this. You see, asked question: is it better to do that? Make a smaller script rather than a large one? It's going to depend, right? So sometimes my personal preference is if I can make it smaller, it's usually better, right? Because I can make it into smaller pieces, and those smaller pieces might be able to be applied to more things. But at the same time, when I'm prototyping something out quick, if it makes sense for me to write it all in one script, I do, and then I regret it later because I could have broke it out into smaller pieces and used pieces of the code. Kind of like what I did today. Like I had a script that basically already figured out the directions of these characters on my player, but it was specific to being on the player. So I had to reinvent the wheel instead of having that generic version that would work on any NPC player or character. So yeah, so follow to know when I stream later. Check my Discord out. I usually post messages in there. I will catch you guys all later. Let's see if we can find somebody to raid that's streaming. Let's see. Who's streaming in this type of category so we can get you on the same type of stuff. Later. Not quite done yet. ML Development is streaming, but he usually doesn't stream gaming stuff. He usually streams other programming stuff. Let's see if there's somebody that's doing Unity development first. Not, we'll go over to him. Science and technology. Guess I could show this on screen, huh? That'd help. So let's just search for their Unity. Streaming mode over Unity node. That's something. Node.js is something else. Only one. Game dev with Rust. Are we a game dev yet? Ah, so he needs to go watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. There's a message in that movie. Now this says, is this the same guy that was up above? What? Let's check out what he's done. See if he's regularly using Unity. Well, it's C# at least. Got 2 viewers. 11 followers. Let's send him 9 people. See what he does. Grab his name. So I'm triggering the raid. It should start in like 10 seconds. Tell him who sent you. Bye, everybody. Three, 2, 1, 0. Goodbye. Raid now. Engage.